President Trump, during his farewell speech in Israel, demands the world drive out radical Islamic terrorists. Listen to this.
We must drive out the terrorists and the extremists from our midst, obliterate this evil ideology, and protect and defend our citizens and people of the world. All civilized nations must be united in this effort.
And Sebastian Gorka, President Trump's deputy assistant on security matters, says dates matter to terrorists. Here's his quote. Manchester explosion happens on 4th anniversary of the public murder of Fusilier Lee Rigby. Dates matter to jihadi terrorists. That soldier was hacked to death on the streets of London by an Islamic terrorist. Joining us now is Walid Phares, Fox News terrorism analyst. Walid, I was intrigued by our president's use of the expression evil losers. In particular, the word losers. That was deliberate on his part. What do you think he was trying to do?
He was trying to send a message to the world, but also to the Arab and Muslim world, that the path of active jihadism, of violent jihadism, will lead them nowhere, will lead those jihadists everywhere except to what they want, is to establish the caliphate. This should be followed by probably another call to bring down ISIS caliphate on the ground in Syria and Iraq and in Libya, and then be more forceful in Europe against these kind of cells or individuals.
So that's almost the intellectual side of it, undermining the terrorists themselves. What about the other side of the coin? I suspect that the president wants a more muscular approach to terror, force, kinetic response, if you like.
He does. Look, in his address, which in my view is historic, to the 50 leaders of the Arab and Muslim countries in Riyadh, what he has done was to create the vastest, the largest alliance. You know, it includes 50 to 55 maybe of these countries. He's going to go to NATO soon, and he will be also putting together a Western and Arab alliance and go after them. But that's, again, on paper. What needs to be done on the ground is to end and finish ISIS in those 3 countries at least in the region.
So you think that's the starting point, is it? Go after them over there. That's the start.
Absolutely. I mean, look, we have begun an operation in Syria. Then we stopped. We need to finish that operation. And the United States needs the Arabs to help us from the south. That's the reason for why they have declared the formation of an army of a corps of 24,000 troops or 34,000 troops. So these are practical effects of that conference. But after finishing ISIS in the region, this is not going to end the conflict. We have another army of ISIS, which is now manifest activity is in Europe and partially also in the United States. So that's our next problem.
Well, what should we do about them? I think we know some of who they are, and they're here. What should we do?
Well, it's like a tip of the iceberg. Those whom we know are those who have been traveling, who have been making statements. They are on the list of agencies on both sides of the Atlantic. Those who we don't know are the radicalized. So we need to engage in a war of ideas. First thing you do in a war of ideas is to determine what is that ideology, because your allies won't know how to detect it, and the other side won't know if they are detected. So we need to be very forceful in making sure that our allies in Europe, and it will happen probably in Brussels and NATO, needs to start naming this ideology.
Do you think there's likely to be more of this, certainly in Europe? Is that on the cards, likely?
Look, rationally speaking, we know that there are large networks of jihadists. I would even move one inch in saying they have already planned to do similar things. If you take the map, the historical map over the past months or couple of years, you'll see that every time we had an attack, we asked the same question. Will this be the last attack? Of course not, because the jihadists are still planning. They have a standing order by ISIS, and then they have individuals, should they be dispersed as lone wolves or pack of wolves, doesn't matter. Yes, we will see more attacks, unfortunately.
Okay, I wonder at what point the public responds with communal violence. I'm wondering if we're close to that point. You comment on that, sir?
Yes, this is one of the goals of the jihadists, believe it or not. And I saw what our friend Ryan mentioned on TV. I've included it in my book, Future Jihad, in 2005. One of the major goals for 9/11, let alone for everything that followed in Europe, is that they want to see these civil societies respond. They want to break down the legal system. By responding with violence, we will go into an urban clash that would give them more strength in recruitment. So the people of these communities, if they are targeted by violence, which would be terrible, the jihadists will be the ones to win.
Okay. Walid Phares, as always, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.